Good morning. Some of those videos, I was telling Jeff Foxworthy the other day about some of the things my kids did on the farm. Trey and Wesley were talking about how the hockey team would come out and practice on the ice on that lake you just saw. And he said, well, how in the world do you know the ice is thick enough? And Wesley or Trey, I can't remember which one, said, well, you just take a 22 and you shoot, and if a bullet goes all the way through, then you don't get on the ice. He said, that's the most redneck thing I've ever heard. And then we told him about how I got a 40-year-old bulldozer, and we put the kids, what we did for fun, but when they were little, we put the kids in the bucket. It would go up about 15, 20 feet in the air, and then I would hit the drop button, and it would just drop, and their heart would go up in their throat, and they said they called it the Redneck Tower of Terror. And then they talked about how they would take propane cans and set them on the driveway and light some kind of paper around them with fire, and then shoot the propane tanks and watch them explode. And Jeff said, you know, being a redneck's part of my act, but I think you guys are authentic rednecks. So anyway, Kelvin Edwards is going to come up and say a few words first. He and I both lived in Dorm 5 that got torn down a couple years ago. And Kelvin went on to play for the New Orleans Saints after he left Liberty. He went on to play for the Dallas Cowboys for a long time. He finished his college career at Liberty as the career record holder for the most career receiving yards, 2,546 yards, and career receiving touchdowns, 24 touchdowns. In 2009, he was inducted into the Liberty Hall of Fame, and he's gone on to be successful in other areas. And he's single, so I'm trying to get him fixed up today if any of y'all are interested. But anyway, Samantha Steele Ponder is also here with us today. She and her husband, Christian, are both here, as a matter of fact. Sam is a Liberty alumna who started her career in sportscasting as a sideline reporter for the Liberty Flames Sports Network. She came up, I got to tell this story. I'm sorry, Samantha. All right. Back when she was here, girls had to wear skirts down to here, to their knee. And they were hard to find. For some reason, they weren't in style or something. And so she was wearing one that was about an inch above her knee one day, barely above her knee. And she came over to Becky and me. We were sitting over there in Convo, and she told Becky, she said, this RA thinks I'm not a good Christian because my dress is 1 inch above my knee. And I said, tell the RA, they're the ones that got the problem. They shouldn't have been looking that close. Anyway, so then she felt better. But anyway, currently Sam is the host of the NFL Sunday Countdown. That's quite an accomplishment for a recent Liberty graduate. What year did you graduate from Liberty? 2009. So that's amazing. She's come so far, so fast. We're so proud of her. Her husband, Christian, was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings as a quarterback in 2011. He played for the Vikings, the Raiders, and San Francisco 49ers. But before she and Christian come up and speak, I'm going to ask Kelvin to come up and tell you a few stories from our days at Liberty. He drove over to Waco when we played Baylor. He lives in Dallas, was an hour and a half away or something. And he was sat in the box with us, and you should have seen him. He was just out of his skin. He was so excited. It was so much. That was more fun than watching the game. But
no, you really should have seen Jerry Falwell. He was walking. First off, we on the 12th floor, right?
Yeah.
And the elevator was kind of full, and he said, "Let's run down there." He was so excited that he would have jumped off the building. I mean, that's how excited he was.
We ran down 12 flights of stairs to get on the field and congratulate the boys. And I didn't think those stairs were ever going in. We just kept going down.
Man, I was sweating, and I was like saying, my knees are hurting. I said, man, I'm tired.
I'm in better shape. I wasn't sweating at all.
Oh, yeah. When he got to the bottom of the steps, he said, we got to go further? I said, yeah. So I got to say this. School to counsel for the whole day, right? Oh, I'm sorry. first of all, this is amazing. The university is amazing right now. When I was here, we only had about 12 buildings or 14 buildings on campus. You could stand on one side of the campus and see the other side of the campus. We only had, one place to eat at Liberty. And we practiced, he talking about how he treated his kids on the farm. When we played, we practiced on Treasure Island. Treasure Island was right here off the main street in Lynchburg. And so we would ride to Treasure Island and then get to the bridge. They would let us off the bus, okay? We would walk across the bridge because the bridge was so shaky. They thought the bridge was gonna fall in one day. And so we used to walk across the bridge and allow the driver to drive the bus across the bridge. So they didn't really care about the driver, okay? That's Liberty. So when I was coming out of high school, I was highly recruited. I played football, basketball, and ran track. And I was really highly recruited. And so my mother loved Dr. Falwell. Every coach that came in to visit me to see who I were, when Bear Bryant came down and Johnny Majors come down, my mother said, no, I want you to go to a school that loves you who you are. And they appreciate who you are as a person, not just an athlete. And so when I came to Liberty, it was kind of a forced thing. I was like saying, I really don't want to go. But when I got here, the love for the people was so amazing, I couldn't help but to just wanted to receive the love. Because when I came here, everybody was saying, we're glad to have you here. We're glad to be, you to be, part of our student union. I was like, man. And so you really should be really cheering, the president of your school, Dr. Jerry Falwell, Jr., and his amazing staff, how they really have changed this school and this environment. This environment here is so wonderful, so awesome, and what I really think, Jerry, about is that the vision that he saw, that his dad saw, and he was able to catch on to it as a young boy, as a teenager, and really run with it. Because a lot of time, we don't run with what our parents want us to do. And it's amazing what he have did, in the course of the last 10 years at this university. It is amazing. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? You go from 16 buildings to probably 30, 40, 50 buildings here, and so that's amazing. So when I came out of Liberty University in 1986, okay, I got drafted by the New Orleans Saints. And I really didn't want to get drafted by the New Orleans Saints because at the time they called them the Aints, and they used to wear the bags on the head and the newspaper in the hand. And so they was the most wonderful fans. It would seat 70,000 people in the Superdome, and every time they would introduce somebody, they would say, boo. And so you were like saying, I don't want to be there. They lose all the time. So my first preseason game, we played against the New England Patriots. And so we played the New England Patriots. And so I was on punt return. As a rookie, that was my job. So I was on punt return. And we had a right return. And the guy kicked the ball so high and so far, he kicked it to the left. And so I was so far on the left side of the field, I figured, hey, I might well run it left, right? So I made one step and I said, maybe the coach is going to get on you if you run another step. So I turned all the way around, went down the field, going this way instead of going that way, and went 60 yards for a touchdown. And the fans at New Orleans they started pulling the bags off their heads, they threw the paper at the fans, and they said having a good time. New Orleans is the greatest fan, and I wanted really to be in God's town, in God's country, which is America's team, like Liberty University is America's university, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. Woo! Yeah, that's right, the American team, baby. And so I really wanted to be, in a place where, where we figured that, at the stadium, had a hole in the stadium so God can kind of manage the team, to see what's going on with the team. That's what they call it, the America's team. And so when I got to Dallas, your president's dad, Dr. Falwell, used to always fly in to Dallas. So him and Tom Landry was real good friends. And I had a couple guys on the team that kind of didn't really agree with Dr. Falwell. I said, you know what? When he get here, I'm gonna tell him on you. I'm gonna tell my daddy what you said. You know what I'm saying? That's what I said. I'm gonna tell my daddy, Dr. Falwell, what you said. And so Doc was so, he'll come down to the locker room, and I remember Nate Newton. Remember Nate Newton? And Nate said, he about 300 pounds, about 6'4". So Doc go behind him and pick him up. Boom. And he said, who is this? I said, see, now talk about Dr. Falwell now. And he said, oh, no, he's a good guy. He's a real good guy. He's a real good guy, And so these are some of the things we had. And when I went to Dallas, I went from Dallas to the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, with some good guys, okay? I want to say here, you are living in an amazing day and time right now. You have a lot of things to do here at Liberty University. It's time for you to stay focused on your goals and your principles that God has put in you. You just need to stay focused on what he has for you. And I promise you, don't let the things outside that you see or hear distract you, because you got so much going on right here at Liberty University. Stay where you are. Enjoy the time and the moment where you are, because it's nowhere you can be that's better than Liberty University right now. Nowhere in the country. So it's important that you realize the time that you are in and what God has set you in to be a place like this. So take advantage of this right here and stay right here, learn as much as you can, have as much fun as you can. And let me tell you something. You're not going to have a meet or president of a university like this. Nowhere in the country, nowhere in the world. This is probably the greatest place that you can ever step your feet on is here on Liberty University ground. So it's important for you to stay focused, and I love you guys. I love this place. My blood run red and blue. My blood run flame, you know what I'm saying? And this weekend, I want to see all you out here this weekend to, see the game and support your football team, and make sure y'all support them that in every way, form, and fashion, okay? And then I want to thank the basketball coach. I got to thank him for recruiting my son in basketball, Coach Rich McKay. I want to thank him and his basketball staff for recruiting my son in basketball. And I just want to say thank you guys. I appreciate it, and y'all have a blessed day.
And you're not going to believe this about Kelvin. He's a country music fan.
That's right.
And he's personal friends. Now name them all. I don't know all the names.
So when you went to Liberty back in the 80s, Dr. Falwell said you can only listen to 2 stations, radio stations. One was Christian music, okay? 2 was country music. Woo! And so I never knew that because I was listening to country music back in the days that I would get a chance to meet some of the great ones. And so my best friend is Jerry Lee Lewis out of Memphis, Tennessee. You know what that is? Do y'all know what that is? The piano player that played Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Their grandparents. Their grandparents know who they are. Yeah.
They great-grandparents. So I know him through a good friend of mine, and every time he see me, he say, "Hey nephew, where you going?" And everywhere he go play, he always invite me to come out to visit. So Memphis is a Cowboys town. You know what I'm saying? A Dallas Cowboy, you know what I'm saying? Everybody loves the Dallas Cowboys. And so that's association there, you know what I'm saying? You know, I love country music.
But there's a lot of other big names. I saw, you showed me pictures.
Okay, so the other names is, you got Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got Johnny Cash.
Yep.
Okay.
He showed me a picture of him with Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I know all the old guys, you know, that love the music. I never knew that I was gonna meet these guys, but as you
see, it was a different school back then. We weren't allowed to do anything. You couldn't listen to any rock music. So country was the only choice, and so that's how he became a country music fan.
That's right. And also, when you went to live back in the 80s, you had to wear a tie. So this morning, I'm thinking that maybe I need to wear a tie.
I know, and then I didn't.
Oh my goodness. So, and then also, you couldn't date unless you double dated.
That's right.
And you had to go on a double date with a senior or a junior.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You remember them days?
You guys got it good, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And they had a hair code.
And you couldn't wear your hair above your ears.
And you couldn't wear jeans to class.
Couldn't wear jeans to class. Oh, man. Come on, man.
Couldn't wear flip-flops, nothing.
I mean, look at this here. I mean, his daddy would have threw him out of school with these jeans on. You know that? Dr. Farwell would say, Jared, get out of here. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
But that's only because Mama was making him be that way. That's true. My mom was the one that was. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
His mom making all the rules.
She was strict.
She was strict.
She was strict.
Oh yeah.
So he didn't have a choice.
And then think about here. You had a curfew at 10 o'clock. You had to be inside the dormitory.
Yeah. And lights off at 11.
And lights was out, but we had towels underneath the door, and we was cooking. Yeah. We were cooking our little meals at nighttime.
I actually had a little piece of wood taped to the door, so if the RA opened the door with the key, it was attached to the light switch. It would turn the light off. I
did. Wait a minute. We had to come to Convo every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and so watch this. Yeah. Some days, and you had to check in. But some days, guys used to sleep in the ceiling.
That's right. You climb up in the ceiling on top of the wall and go back to sleep. And the RA would come in and check to see if you were in chapel. The room was empty.
One guy, it was so funny that he slept on the bed and he fell asleep so hard that his arm was sticking out underneath the bed. And the RA say, "Hey, anybody here?" And he did that. He said,
I just thought y'all enjoy hearing from Kelvin, because we went to a different Liberty. It was a long time ago, and we didn't have it near as good as you guys have it. So I just want you to appreciate what you have a little bit. So.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome, Kelvin.
Welcome to Sunday NFL Countdown. Get some snacks, because we've got full 3 hours as we get you ready for a big day in the NFL. Man, it's now a segment. You got the face for it. It's time for Riddick's Rant. What are you fired up about today?
Quarterback draw. That is a touchdown. Christian Ponder. Ponder trying to throw to the end zone and got it to Patterson. Touchdown.
Because today, I just want to know, what in the world are we going to see from Cam Newton? And all you, enjoy the games at home. We'll be on the couch right there.
Come on, everybody. The Ponders are in the house.
Uh-oh.
Christian. Man, all the Viking fans, the San Francisco fans, Raider fans have just been blowing up social media to just get a picture with you. And then Sam, welcome back to Liberty University. Come on.
I barely
it's amazing to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Sam was telling us last night at dinner, she visited a Seafall, right?
Yeah.
So you were actually a Seafall visitor?
Yeah, my senior year of high school, I was sitting back up there somewhere, didn't know a soul, had a great weekend, and then ended up coming here 3 years later after going to school in New York first. So it made a huge impression on me. So I hope you're all having fun. I was going to say thanks for being here, but you're still required to be here, right? Okay, so
they get some skips, so they didn't.
Oh, okay. Thanks for not skipping today. Appreciate that. Oh, there's like debate about this right now. I don't know.
So it's been a while, a few years since you've been on campus. A lot's changed since you've been here?
I mean, we drove around just for a few minutes last night, and it was fun to hear KELVIN's stories, because obviously that's a whole different era of kind of what they went through. The campus is not recognizable, other than the Vines for me, which is where I spent a ton of time driving. I mean, it's incredible what's happened here, even just in the past few years since we were here last. So obviously you guys have a lot going on, but it's important to me as someone who went here that you're a part of a school that's always getting better. You know, when you leave, you want to know that the place you went is going to make you proud down the road, and this has definitely been that for me. Yeah, so before we talk NFL career and just, you know, all the things that you're doing, let's talk about how you guys met and how we get to have both of you here as guests, as a husband and wife. How'd you meet? And yeah, Christian, how'd we meet?
What's that story about?
We met on Twitter.
Is
this on? Is this on?
Make sure that's on.
Yeah, we met on Twitter, so.
Oh yeah, this is before Tinder days, though.
I was a Twitter creep, and so it was like in the middle of, in the spring, this was going into my second year of Minnesota. In the spring off season, I tweeted at her, she tweeted at me, and then that was it. And then, this is a great story, it's actually terrible. And then, so that was that, and then I made up some story that one of my buddies I was training with went to University of Texas, and she was doing Longhorn Network in Austin at the time, and I made up some lie, which I'm like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about
lie. That's how you get your wife.
It was a great start. It was a great start. So I was like, you know, hey, I'm thinking about living in Austin. Like, do you like it? So that was my tweet. Really, just brilliant.
I was like, why is this guy tweeting me? I don't know him. We have no connection.
Yeah.
So this isn't DMing. I mean, you're not direct message.
This is public. So then I'm just starting my career in broadcasting, and worst case scenario is the public sees, oh, great, you're talking to an athlete on Twitter. So I immediately followed him back and DM'd him like, please stop tweeting me publicly. This is not good for me.
So I took it. She DM'd me, so I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like, this is good.
No, you were not in.
So, you know, so I DM her back, and then we exchanged direct messages, and then, of course, I asked for the digits, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Do you still say digits now? Yeah. I don't think that's what we're old.
Yeah. In 1998.
I know.
So this is fast forward. So after those first couple tweets, she sends me the DM, and I'm in the middle of training camp, so in August in Minnesota. And we exchange phone numbers, and we talk, and we like FaceTime, and like up until like midnight, 1 a.m. while I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to go to practice.
It's really good for his career.
Yeah, so I'm sure Minnesota's happy to hear about this.
Guys.
And so then we talk all training camp. September, the NFL works. The last preseason game of the preseason is everyone has their game on Thursday night, and most teams get that weekend off. And so I got that weekend off. She was doing her first game day show in Dallas. I'm from Dallas. So I went home to see my parents, and we met September 1st. We hung out kind of all day, and then I flew back to Minnesota, and we kind of figured out ways to hang out. We met September 1st, got engaged December 2nd, married in a courthouse December 17th. Secretly.
Was not pregnant, okay? I know what you're thinking. I mean, it was literally in the paper. How terrible is this? This is how you know you're not in Lynchburg anymore. The paper suggested that we had a shotgun wedding. I was like, no, we were just dumb and in love. How about that?
Courthouse wedding.
Oh, yeah super fancy.
What was that? What was that like?
Gorgeous.
So it was my idea. I went to Florida State, so I had a great education. It was just really smart. And so I'm like, so our plan was we're gonna have this secret wedding in a courthouse, and we're like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Like, we're in Minneapolis, which is, you know, obviously Minnesota, and we're like, let's go to Wisconsin, and the Wisconsin border's like 20 miles east of Minneapolis. I'm like, they won't know who we are. And so we get in the first exit in Wisconsin, which is Hudson, Wisconsin. We go to this courthouse, we go and we're like, hey, we want our marriage license and we want to get married today. And we're like, please, like, we don't want anyone to find out. Like, can we keep this a secret? Meanwhile, like, the lady's like, yeah, okay. Can you sign this for my son, please? And I'm like, oh, okay. We have to get so the city clerk can do it. He was like, okay, come back at 5 o'clock. We'll do it. But you got to find two witnesses.
Yeah.
So we've like scrounged up these two little like girls who worked at the courthouse. I have no idea who we are.
Crying through the ceremony.
It was the corniest ceremony ever.
Meanwhile, the ceremony was like, may the wind always be at your backs and the sun shining on your face. We're like, just
we're
say the vow.
laughing the whole time.
Come on.
They're crying. Then we get married. The guy, so our only pictures, do they have the pictures?
Okay.
Yeah,
These are our fancy wedding
This is their wedding photo right here.
Our wedding photo.
Oh, yeah.
Nice wedding photo.
We had lunch at Arby's right after that.
Yeah, our special dinner was Arby's.
Yeah,
The reception was at Arby's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But so our plan was we're going to have this secret wedding at a courthouse, but then we were going to have a real wedding in Phoenix in April.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was quite trash.
And so we're like, okay, we thought we had it done. I got an email from like a local sports reporter. Hey, did you just get married today? So I called my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, I just got married.
So any parents that are here, we're not actually recommending you do it that way. It just kind of worked for us.
Yeah, so that's our story. It's great.
Yeah, but for all the dads that have to pay for a wedding, Arby's sounds pretty affordable.
5 for 5.
5 for 5.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Roast beef and cheddar.
All right, so speaking of parents, take us back a little bit. How did you find out about Liberty? I know you grew up in a strong Christian home.
I did. So it was kind of assumed that I would go to a Christian school because I grew up in a Christian home. My parents both went to Christian schools and all my siblings did. But for me, I wanted to get out. I knew I wanted to leave. I grew up in Phoenix. And I just felt like I needed to kind of do my own thing. So I came for college for a weekend, had the time of my life that weekend, and then decided at the last minute, you know what, I have this dream of doing sports broadcasting. I'm just going to move to New York City. And I mean, I didn't know anybody. I showed up, no money, no friends, and found an internship. That's kind of a long story. But coming back to Liberty for me, so I finished my last 2 years here, and I had lived from age 18 to 21 in Midtown Manhattan, so you can kind of imagine it didn't feel like that at the time. When you're broke and don't know anybody, it's kind of a different experience, but I remember thinking, I remember my experience at college for a weekend. Liberty is such a special place. Like, I think maybe that's where I'm supposed to be. And came down here, met with Bruce Carey, who I think is somewhere in here, and gave me a job to cover the men's and women's basketball games and the football games here. It was the best possible work experience I could have gotten because, and I tell people this all the time, you need a place when you're first starting out where you can safely fail. And for me, Liberty was that place, a place where there's going to be grace given when you mess up, that it's not the end of the world if things don't go perfectly. And that's what I got to experience here, which was really special and kind of, I mean, honestly, was the start of everything for me when it comes to hosting and reporting. So it was great.
And the McKays, I know, were close friends. And
those are my people.
Kind of became kind of like mom and dad.
Poor Julie McKay is having to, does anybody know Scout? Is Scout in here right now? I hope. Julie McKay is a saint because she is watching both of our children right now, which if you've been around either one, you know that is a full-time job. But Julie invested in me so early on, saw something in me when I thought I was just a regular kid that kind of had some crazy dreams and probably wasn't going to get there. She saw something special in me. You need those people in your life. And to me, that's why Liberty is so special, because there are so many people around that will call out things they see in your life that maybe you're not able to see yet. And this is a phase in life where, at least for me, I needed somebody to see something good in me. So the McKays were those people for us and now have adopted him also.
That's right. Man, so Christian, take us back. I know you grew up in a strong Christian home. Your parents are actually doing mission work even now.
Yeah, so my parents are my dad is the head coach of the South Sudan national team, basketball. So I don't know if anyone here is from South Sudan, but if you are, hit me up because I got a team for you. But my parents have always been mission oriented. They've run an inner city ministry in downtown Phoenix and then also in the South Sudan and in Palestine and in Zimbabwe for the last 35 years. So I grew up in kind of a similar environment as this is, where you're constantly being reminded that the world is bigger than you. And that it's not okay to just live your nice little life and, have everything just right, that you've got to serve. So I had that example really early on, and hopefully we're able to pass that on to our kids.
Yeah, and Christian, I know your faith was really catapulted to a new level, honestly, because of your career and the lefts and rights that it took. You know, you were in the NFL, very successful right off the bat, like big news how early on you got, you know, drafted in, you know, just, and then all of a sudden it was just highs and lows and all these different things. Tell us about your faith and take us back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the career and how the NFL played a part of you just really rekindling your walk with the Lord.
Yeah, so I grew up Catholic, and for some people that works great with their faith, others it doesn't. And what I realized, you know, growing up, I wasn't progressing that much in my faith. I thought I was a believer and was solid, but you know, so I met this guy. I went to Florida State, and this guy that worked in the video program, the sports media program, kind of started planting seeds. He grew up Catholic, and like started planting seeds in me that you know, when he left the Catholic Church, his faith really skyrocketed. And again, I mean, everyone's experience is different. I'm not saying if anyone's Catholic, leave the Catholic Church. So, you know, we started doing like Wednesday night Bible studies my senior year at Florida State, and he planted these seeds that I saw later come, you know, start to bloom and come into fruition and what he was talking about. And so with my faith going in the NFL, you know, I honestly, like, I would think, hey, if I pray, if I get in the Bible, then I'm going to play well on Sunday. You know, that was kind of like my faith. Like, I was using God for myself. Like, God, you know, that's how he works. And what I realized was my faith was so up and down with how I played, because when I played well, I was like, hey, God's awesome. If I didn't play well, it was almost like I blamed him for not playing well. And obviously that's not how that relationship works at all. And so when I met Sam, who's obviously a strong believer, you know, she led me closer to him. And it's interesting, we were talking last night, just how, you know, with you were led to the church by some girls. And but how God just draws us in different ways. And, you know, like he figures out, you know, this is the best way to do it at that certain season in your life. And so the seeds that were planted at that time at Florida State, and then some of the stuff that Sam and I were able to talk through, you know, God was calling me closer to him. And you know, I mean, do I have it still all figured out now? No. I mean, there's still, you know, the timeline of your spiritual life is, you know, you're always trying to go this way. And but yeah, you know, you learn that you don't want your circumstances in life to dictate your circumstances of your faith. And that's something I learned.
That's a really powerful thought, not letting the circumstances of your life every single day drive your faith, you know? And so can you take that into like what you've learned as a couple in parenting? We do want to show some baby pictures. Can we put those up? Pretty awesome. A couple baby pictures, I think.
Your face is awesome, yeah. David.
Oh, it's not.
There's Scout.
There it is. She's amazing, by the way. She has like 200,000 people that follow her on her Instagram site, right?
And we're riding her coattails all the way. And there's Drew. He was born in June.
Wow.
It's been a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of craziness is what that's.
There he is.
Where am I in all these pictures?
Yeah, you're taking the picture.
Oh, there.
No need. Oh, there. Yeah.
That kid's a stud, by the way.
That's my guy.
Last night he had some kicks on. Last night he had Jordan 11s maybe.
Yeah, he's got the retros.
Yeah.
There he is. Hi, Drew.
And then look at him. And then this morning he's got like the flu game Jordans on. This kid is.
We brought our very best for Liberty. Okay.
Pretty crazy.
Spend all money on them, not us.
Yeah.
There you go.
Look way cooler than.
So parenting, like, tell me what's that like, and what's God teaching you, and how is God using parenting to bring you together?
I mean, I thought when we got married, that was like, wow, I had no idea how selfish I was and how much my life was just about me. And then I'm like, okay, I got this figured out. You know, we married a couple years, then we had kids. And wow, does God use that to refine and remind you of, I mean, it's, for me, growing up in the church and then going to Liberty, and there were times in my life, and not all times, but there were times in my life where I'm like, I'm doing all right. You know, I'm not like doing drugs and sleeping around. And I started thinking like, I'm not sure what my sins are right now. And it's so funny how God so quickly will humble you and be like, actually, you are incredibly prideful and selfish. And, there were just so many things that having children revealed to me, and I think to both of us, about ourselves, that I don't know how we would have learned that any other way. Because it's that constant choosing someone else's good above your own. Because there are a lot of days where everything that they want to do is not what we want to do. And it's not convenient. And you learn that, like, man, isn't that how God feels with us so many times? I mean, there are so many times where Scout wants something and she thinks it's good, but there's something better later on in the day. And I just almost hear the voice of God in my own head, like, yeah, that's how I feel about you, Sam. Like, you think you want this job or this relationship or whatever, and are begging for it and throwing a fit. And I'm over here like, I've got something so much better and so much more satisfying than all that stuff. Like, quit worrying about what you know, because I know so much more. So kids to me have just revealed my own heart in so many ways. I think both of our kids were not planned. Maybe that's too much information, but and so it's not like we had this huge plan of how we were going to build our family and all this. Like, God just, I think the timing was perfect because we were both living our lives so much for ourselves. When you have a big dream, and I'm sure most of you in here have dreams for your life and these goals. I mean, for both of us, we got to live out our childhood dreams, way earlier. And honestly, I don't know that either one of us really thought, like, yeah, I'm going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL and I'm going to work for ESPN. And then we got there and realized really quickly, now what? Like, now what? Our lives have been so consumed by reaching these goals that we got to, quote unquote, the top and started looking around thinking, like, is that it? And not to say that the kids were from God just to say, like, hey, you're really selfish. But I think having children during that season of our life really helped us both to see big picture that said, no, that's not it. And if your life is about your job or reaching some goal, you're going to be really disappointed when you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big picture we figured out is it's not about us, and I think we were talking about last night, like, okay, why were we put in these positions? Why has God put Sam on the front stage of ESPN and me where I was, and you start thinking about, yeah, it is about me, like, it's about our comfort. Like, that was a big thing. Like, we realized, man, we care so much about our comfort, and that's obviously, like, not what God cares about. He does not care about our comfort, and because it's looking inward instead of outward. And so we're like, so I think things that we talk about now are like, okay, why are we here? Let's try to figure out our purpose and our job, or now living in New York City. So it's like, like, we figured out, okay, with what we've been able to do financially, we get to help out her parents in their ministry. Like, do we get to be on the front lines with them right now? No, we got a lot going on with our job, but we get to contribute that through the ways that God's been able to give us to contribute. And so, I think that's the kind of thing we're figuring out is not, okay, what is in it for me, but like, and we're not good at this still. I mean, this is like, we're figuring this out as we're going, but like, okay, why does God have us in this place? What is going on in this season of life that God's calling us to this place or to be with these people? And it's just so important to figure that out. And again, I mean, we're not great at it. We're getting there, hopefully, but yeah.
I think you're such a great example for our students. Every one of them want to be successful in whatever field God is calling them to. And they want to do it with excellence, but yet they also want to not wrap their entire identity around that.
Ask her what it was like. Ask her what it was like being the token conservative on The View.
Uh-oh. What was it like being the token conservative on The View?
Now for a left turn, or a right turn, depending on how you're thinking about it. That was for you, Jerry. Well, this actually kind of goes to what you're saying, because like I said, I had so many dreams and goals. I remember growing up watching The View on ABC with my mom and thinking, what a dream job, I know that sounds weird to some people, but to be able to just sit with different people and talk about your opinions. And so 2 years ago, they called and asked my agent if I wanted to come host The View for a week. So I went out to New York, and I remember walking through those doors. By the way, it was the same doors I had interned in as an 18 13-year-old. So there's a part of me that's like, I made it, you know, like I'm here and I'm actually going to be on this show. And there was all this buildup. And I get there, and I guess I probably can't say it exactly how I said it to Jerry earlier, but it was not what I had built it up to be. And I had thought that if I could just reach this certain level of success in everybody else's eyes, then that would fix some things in me, you know, whatever it was, whether it was insecurity or pride, which is kind of a combination of the two. Like, I thought reaching that type of level would do it. Well, it turns out I go in there and it was not an enjoyable experience. And I think I can say, you can kind of imagine what that would have been like. But it was such a great lesson for me because I had put all my eggs in that basket. You know, I had thought, like, if I can just get to the place where other people will see what I'm doing and think, like, she's made it, then that was going to be enough. And it just wasn't. I found that for all of you that are looking forward to the day where you have a platform, because that's what people used to say to me all the time, right? Like, you'll have this amazing platform. You're on The View. You know, you're going to be the only conservative up there. You have this great platform. I literally got booed. I'm not joking. Like, during a commercial break, I had said something that, you know, the audience didn't like, and I got booed, and I realized really quickly that even though that wasn't the biggest deal, the reason why so many of us get the platform and then don't use it is because it's so much harder to maintain that everyone's going to like me and everybody has to think what you're saying is okay once you have the platform. So you may be at Liberty University feeling like you can say what you think and you've got strong opinions, and if only you had the mic, you know, if only you were able to shout from the rooftops. Well, what happens is once you get it, then everybody tells you what you can and can't say, and you have a whole lot more to lose. And for me, that's been such a humbling experience and a reminder from God, like, I am the one who puts one up and puts another down. Like, God doesn't wait for us to, yeah, you can applaud that scripture, it's not me. So, but the experiences like that have been so good for me to see that it's not about me, quote unquote, using the platform I've been given, because anybody could do what I do, and I really do mean that. Like, if you're in the room thinking, well, I'm never going to be at that job or whatever, like, God did this. God did that. I sat right over back in that corner over there, and honestly, I was thrilled just to work for the station here and thought that could be as good as it gets. So if you're thinking that getting that platform is what's going to change it, I can just speak from my own experience. Sometimes once you get the platform, that's when you get silenced because you're so afraid to lose it. And that's why that grip has to kind of let go a little bit, which is a scary thing. But yeah, to Jerry's point, The View was kind of miserable, I'm not going to lie.
And now Paula is on there, and she's a conservative, and she's certainly standing up for a lot of things that we hold dear as well. You're such a great example, both of you, of what it's like to love the Lord and to just be faithful and not let your identity be given away if you're not famous one day, you know, and so thank you for that. I'm going to ask Ian, our athletic director, to come up. He's got a gift for you, but then we always say, how can we pray for you, as the last question here, and so I'm going to ask Ian to pray for you, but what's a prayer request? What can we do to pray for you before Ian prays?
We need it all. Yeah. I think for both of us right now, just direction in how to use the platform that we had. Yeah. You know, that's needing that clarity to figure out what we're supposed to be doing, I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So Ian has a gift for you, and it's cool.
A token of appreciation and gratitude.
Thank you. Finally, I get my name on a jersey. You got some eligibility left? You're going to come back?
Pray for them if you will.
Sure will. Okay, please join me in prayers. We pray for the Ponders. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful that Sam and Christian could join us and their family. Just pray favor upon them and help them to use the gifts, the platform, and the ministry opportunities that you've provided them. They are deeply gifted, very talented people, and just use them for your glory. Use them to advance your kingdom. And Father, we're so thankful that they were able to share with our students today. Just bless our students, our guests for CFA, and thank you for this special time we had today. We ask all these prayers in Jesus' name. Amen.
And one more thing. I texted Sam 1 week ago about doing this today, so give her a hand for making it work on such.
All right, hey, we love you. You're dismissed. See you on the football field, all right? Go to the game.